Hi, my name is Jose Rodriguez. I am a senior partner technical specialist at IBM, and I'm going to give you a high-level overview of storage as a service. So why is IBM going into storage as a service? Well, as you can see, IDC predicts that in less than 2 years, more than half of the data center infrastructure is going to be consumed and operated as a service model. That plus our competitors are also moving into storage as a service. HPE, Dell EMC, Pure, and many more are also going into this. So it's definitely a market and something that the market is driving. So what is IBM storage as a service? For storage as a service from IBM, what we are doing is we're applying it to our flash system family. Okay, it can be any one of the models within the flash system family, and you're going to be paying. You can make it look like on OpEx billing. It depends on the accounting, but yeah, that's the intent. Um, the benefit is you are getting IBM Flash technology with it, and you're also getting IBM to actually do all the management of it. We can actually set it up as a 100% availability guarantee if you use the HyperSwap. There's going to be a service called a concierge support, and I will go into a little more detail about what that is. And really what it does is it makes your on-prem storage look like and function as though you have a cloud storage. And in a hybrid cloud environment, that way all of your storage could be managed exactly that way. Okay, so I mentioned before that it's hybrid cloud driven. So it's to make your on-prem look like it's a cloud storage, a cloud model. Okay, it gives your businesses or the enterprise businesses focus on what their business really is, on how they can get value, rather than the administration of storage. Okay, so there would be a lot less administration and IT management overhead for this particular type of storage. And throughout the whole life cycle, as I mentioned, there is concierge support. The move is to have your expenses go from CapEx to OpEx. So just a little bit of highlights of what it does. The pricing is clear up front. We have scale up, scale down capabilities. There's ease of payment, different types of terms you can do. The life cycle of that storage, from deployment to maintenance to actually even removing it and disposing of it, and upgrades are all handled by IBM. So I mentioned the clear pricing. There's no gotchas in the way that IBM has set up the storage as a service. Basically, what you do is an enterprise customer or a customer decides, this is how much storage I normally need, my base subscription. And during peak times, you may need to use more storage. It may be a short time period during the month or during the quarter. That's what we consider variable use capacity. IBM normally comes in, not only puts in your base subscription hardware, but we also put mostly about 50% more, so it's on the floor and it's ready to be used whenever the customer needs it, but the customer doesn't have to pay for it. If and when they need it, the workloads can expand into that area, and then when they no longer need it, they can go back to only the base. Important things here. IBM, the way it sets up its storage as a service is on physical capacity, no RAID overhead, and we do not take into account any compression or deduplication rates. Those benefits go directly to the customer, not to IBM. So if the workloads do compress and they do better, you get more effective storage out of that physical storage than you would. The variable cost is going to be the same as the base, and there's no commitments on increasing the base during the length of the contract. There is no penalties for going higher or lower than the expected usage, especially if you're using compression and deduplication. And we have the ability to actually upgrade you from different tiers of storage if needed. Now, I mentioned before concierge service, and I stated it several times. So what is it? Well, it's a customer account technical account manager is assigned to that enterprise. That person will have distribute monthly reports on the health of the system, of the environment, and we'll have conduct quarterly meetings with the customer just to kind of determine, okay, this is where you are, this is what we're seeing, and maybe the customer can also say to the technical account manager, we expect this kind of growth, maybe we need to increase our base, or maybe the tier needs to increase because we'd like to get better performance out of it. If the need arises and the case has to be open, that technical account manager will help you with the case, make sure that there's a resolution to it. If escalations need to be executed, that technical account manager will help you with that. Other thing that comes with the concierge service is proactive problem avoidance. We're doing health checks to make sure that the subsystems are in at the right level. We will work with the team to make sure that you're using best practices when it comes to the storage itself. Again, you want software concurrency. You want to make sure that it's up to date. So, how would you start to build a configuration for storage as a service? Well, as you can see here, that we have 4 different tiers of capacity: extreme, premium, balance, and capacity. You can see what the minimums are, what the I/O performance is per terabyte that we are basically saying that that's what we're going to be able to deliver. So the first thing you want to do is you want to choose which level of performance you want, or maybe it might be a mix, because we might be able to we'll be able to provide you a hybrid system. Choose whether you're going to have iSCSI or fiber channel connection, whether you need encryption. You've got the capability of going from 1 to 5 years on a contract like this, and of course then determine what the initial base capacity will be. Okay, and as I mentioned before, IBM will normally put in 50% more of the base on the floor so that you've got that in case you need to grow. I wanted to also mention that we have another option that kind of makes storage environments look like cloud storage, but it's not the storage as a service. And this slide here is a little quick intro to that. It's called the storage utility option. You will notice that there is an X over the hybrid, the flash systems and hybrid systems. If your customer is really looking at that environment, you should consider the storage as a service, because that is all inclusive, all maintenance, the management, and everything is going to be done by IBM. It provides you a lot more than the storage as a utility option. But if you're looking at a SAN volume controller, you're looking for storage for Z environments, maybe even the Spectrum Fusion, the hyperconverged infrastructure, or something like software Spectrum Discover, Spectrum Scale in an ESS, or cloud object storage. Any one of those environments, we can actually provide the storage utility option to kind of give you, the customer, a feel of a cloud-like environment for that storage, but not exactly like storage as a service. By the way, if you're using Spectrum Protect and you want a Spectrum Protect suite to do your data resiliency and modern data protection, that can also be covered by a storage utility option. And let me give you a little more details and show you the difference between storage utility options and storage as a service. This little table kind of shows you the differences, right? Technical control. In the storage as a service, the customer will have a lower control of the actual subsystem. All the management, everything is really done by IBM. So it's low. In the storage as a utility, IBM is not doing any of the management of the storage of itself and any of the configurations or anything like that. So the customer, the client, is completely in charge of that. So of course it would be higher. The cost, because IBM will be doing the management, plus you also get the concierge support, is higher within storage as a service. Um, the usage term, after the term, the subsystem really does belong to IBM. With the storage as a utility, it depends on how you actually set up the contract. Okay. Lifecycle management, in other words, making sure that we get it installed and removed once it's done. That's in the storage as a service. That's done by IBM. In storage utility, that's a customer function. And OpEx, both cases we can make it look like OpEx. Definitely in storage as a service, but in storage utility, it depends how we set it up. One of the things that I really want to highlight is that with storage as a service, as you saw before, we stated that it's a 1 to 5 year contract. With storage utility, that option only has the ability to give you a 3 to 5 year contract. Here are some links to additional resources. Anything for storage systems and storage software, you can start off with sales kits in Seismic, but we also have sales kits that are directly for storage as a service. If you want to learn a little bit more about what the process is, how to get the configuration going, how to get a configuration and a quote, and there's a process and there's actually a quote tool that will help you go through that. If you need further details or if you want a more comprehensive presentation, contact these IBM, Ingram Micro contacts, and they can help you with setting up something for you. Okay. With that, I want to thank you, and I also want to remind you, this was an overview of storage as a service. But Ingram Micro has a YouTube channel which has other overviews of other solutions. With that, thank you again.